Check.
Oh,
Check
God.
1, 2. Check.
I'm having fun already. We're back at Scotties. We have a
Scotties
guest.
Corner Diner in
Yeah.
Bell's Corners.
Yeah.
Come check it out. Great breakfast. I had the pancakes this morning. Something different.
They lasted about a minute and a half.
I wolfed them down.
Lots of carbs.
Oh, my God.
No protein.
I'm going to, carb out by the time you get going on this thing.
Carbon out already with just hearing your voice.
Oh, really? It's that bad?
Yeah, it's pretty
Annoying?
dull. Thank God we have a
Annoying
guest
this one?
today. Very
Oh,
exciting.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a guest.
Yeah. A work from home kind of guy.
We're at Scotties. We had some breakfast. We got a guest. Packed show for you today.
Packed show. Lots to talk about.
Should we just kind of get right into it,
we're
or
good
what do you
with
want?
our
What do you got? You got
format,
any other?
You know what? I got nothing else. Well,
You got some stuff.
the
I
only
see
new
it.
thing. Well, sorry, but it's all relates kind of to our guest,
Oh,
and
okay.
we alluded to it last week. And I thought I'd throw in a new segment right off the top called This or That, and I'd ask the guest.
Okay, yeah.
Remember we talked about
We
this or
did.
that? Like you
We
say
did.
two things and you just get a
We did.
one-line answer.
Yeah.
And then if we want to expand on any of it.
Actually, I don't
So
remember
you
that.
keep that in your head because mine are pretty dull.
Yeah.
And if you can think of a good this or that, then just throw it in when we do
Okay.
it. All
Ask
right.
me what I have.
What do you got?
Nothing. Which is typical.
Well,
Right.
hopefully you can support our guests. You guys are long-time
Yes,
buddies.
yes,
and
yes, exactly.
We'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
that's only a minute and a half. Usually we ramble for like 4
That's
minutes.
Fine. There's nothing wrong.
But I am excited to have him
There's
here.
nothing
though.
wrong with
I'm
a
excited.
quality short cast. What do you mean a beer?
No, I said I'm excited to have him here.
Oh, I thought you said I'm excited to have a beer.
Wow.
That's Wednesday night, maybe, if you're lucky.
10:25 a.m. Might be a bit too early. I don't know.
I thought you were talking about Wednesday night,
No.
our birthday eve. DDT and I share the same birthday. Very fun,
Yeah.
fun fact.
Anybody didn't know that? There you go.
Oh,
We do.
our guest may not have known that.
No.
He didn't even know me before half an hour
No,
ago. so-
exactly.
Okay,
All set?
let's go.
Warning, this podcast will be an injurious waste of your time. Warning, this podcast will be an injurious waste of your time.
Yeah, good morning. I'll take a medium with 2 sugar and a medium regular, please. Oh, DDT. That was one of our finest intros.
That was terrible. How are you?
I'm all right, you?
Yeah, good.
Oh,
Good.
I'm excited because we have a guest.
We do have a guest today.
Yeah, live
It's
from
great.
Scotties.
Yeah.
And without
Thank you to Scotty
without further ado, why don't we get
well,
him
just
involved?
let's just thank Scotty.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you, Scotty, for having us back here.
Was Scotty
at the diner.
behind the griddle today, maybe?
I think he was.
I bet he was. I got some
I
really
talked to him. He said
Okay.
Happy New Year. Haven't seen you guys in a while.
Happy New Year. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Did he wish you a happy Valentine's Day as well?
I did to him
Try to get you back in for the
I-
romantic dinner with your son?
and
And
my
wife?
wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, "You all set for Valentine's again?" He said, "Yeah, we got the menu out and
All
stuff."
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Will
just
you?
looking
Will
forward
it
to
still
that.
be within your buddy Trudeau's tax holiday period?
Isn't
save-
that
save
end
some
on the
money there?
14th? Like that, the last day is, or the 15th?
Oh, it's not very. it's
Yeah.
not very- on February 14th. That's it. So
Or
it
15th.
includes the holiday or not?
I think it includes the holiday. Well,
Okay.
Valentine's is not a
Well,
holiday.
there you go. You'll save considerably that evening if you come out for a nice romantic dinner with your wife and your kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I couldn't leave him at home.
I will never let
It was
this one
kind
go.
of
I will
a.
never let this one
Yeah,
go.
but it was kind of a birthday kind of.
/ Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
because as you just mentioned, our birthdays are on the 13th,
Correct.
and so that kind of gets mixed up in the whole
Yeah.
Valentine's.
And big benefits for you this year, I think, eh?
What's that?
Seniors discount kicks in at 58 or
58. Yeah.
58,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
Remember
think
my
this-
seniors discount at Taco Bell in Oklahoma
Did you?
a couple years
You
ago?
got a senior's
50
discount?
plus.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
How
guest,
was that?
Our guest is fascinated with this line of chatter.
He's like, I didn't explain to him basically
that it's
that
a prank. We're just going to talk
that-
forever and
yeah,
make him
he's,
listen.
he's not gonna say anything.
Am I allowed to make a noise yet? Or?
Yeah, you can say something.
Okay.
So let's tell the listener what's
All
going
right,
on.
might as well,
Okay,
yeah.
so and I'd like to do the introduction to give homage
Your-
to DDT's
Your
boyhood. DDTs, boyhood and adult hero, Mr. Pierre Poilievre. He's still got his photo up on the wall
I
at
don't
home.
know where you get that
Pretty
from.
sure.
but Okay.
Oh, you don't?
No.
No, the guy you always talk about.
I
Okay.
never talk about him.
Anyways, sure.
I see him a lot.
Remember in the House of Commons his best line ever about the finance minister?
No.
Well, I'm going to use it right now.
Oh, okay.
So about our guest, who are you? Wasn't that the best in
Who
House
was
of
you?
Commons?
Poilievre?
I've got
said
one
that?
question for the new finance minister of this liberal government. Who are you?
I never saw that. I never saw that.
That was the big gotcha.
That was the gotcha.
That was amazing. Anyways,
The
So
non-finance finance
since
minister.
then he's not necessarily the highest in my books, but whatever.
We never talked
Without
politics.
further ado, DDT, why don't you give a proper intro to our guest, Trevor Kavanagh, and kind
Yeah.
of set the stage for us today.
Well, it's really nice to have Trev join us on the show today. Trev and I go way back. And I'm talking way back.
I'm sorry about that, Trevor.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
way before
I've only
the
been
DDT
stuck with him for a few
designation.
years.
Yeah. Trev and I went to Algonquin together
Okay,
in the television broadcasting program.
sweet.
And wouldn't you have it, we talked a little bit last week about the Tom Green Show documentary
Yeah,
and how I was on that.
reignited the flame between you two.
So it was actually, yeah, exactly.
Brought you back together.
Brought us back together.
There you go. Thank
We've
you.
been together on and off
Thank
over
you,
the
Mr.
years.
Green, at least for that.
But saying that Trevor and I were at Algonquin with Tom back in the day, and it was Trevor and I that actually started the Tom Green Show, the original Tom Green Show.
100%.
We approached Tom with the idea to do the show, and Tom was obviously into it, and it's
Was
all
he
history from
skeptical
there.
at all at first?
No, I don't think he was
Okay.
ever skeptical. But Trev,
Yeah,
thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for coming
no
in.
problem.
because
Thanks for having me.
It is pertinent because of, like I said, we talked about the Tom Green documentary, and you and I were both on that last. That aired, I guess, premiered last Friday, a week ago, I suppose.
It's the 21st, I think.
21st.
You could ask your wife. She's watched it about 18 times.
Oh my God! She
Looking
keeps
for
putting
you.
It, yeah,
Looking
she just
for you.
forwards it to my part or our part, I guess, because you and I are on that at the same time. But
Right.
Oh, maybe she's looking for Trevor. I never
that
thought
could
of
be.
that.
That could be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I should actually ask her that. Are you sure you're looking for me or you're looking for Trev? It's like, or Tom, maybe. Maybe she's looking for Tom.
But he's everywhere.
Yeah, you don't.
There's,
have to
there's
look
not a
back.
scene without his face in that.
That's
that,
true.
that
That's true.
Documentary.
So Trev, again, thanks for coming on and on the show. It's been like, well, we went for a beer not too long ago, but before that, we've seen each other off and on over the years. It seems like
Yeah,
it's too long between times we go for a beer.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And the last time we went for a beer, you brought a friend. 'cause
Oh,
you thought
yeah,
it was,
your
you thought it was-
doppelganger.
Yeah, because you thought it was hilarious that somebody looked like me.
Yeah.
Which is
Tristan,
the weirdest.
yeah.
Let's catch up. I'm bringing a friend that looks like you.
exactly.
That's awesome.
That was the premise of
That
why.
was it. That was
we
it.
should have found another one
Yeah.
for today.
Yeah, we should have brought
Oh.
Tristan out this morning to. The funny thing is, okay, so here's that story. Okay, I'll just go quickly through that
Like
story.
close resemblance.
Yeah, so
That's pretty funny.
I could see it. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
okay.
absolutely. So I go to the parliamentary gym.
Yeah.
Okay, which is free, and Tristan is a young guy. He's in his, I think he's mid-20s,
Okay.
and he works for one of the MPs.
And he looks like Trevor, and he's in
he's
his
just-
mid-20s.
Yeah, he looks
Okay.
exactly like Trevor did
Nice.
when Trevor was in his
Okay.
20s as well.
Okay, gotcha.
And I was like, oh my God, this guy. I saw him one day, and I'm like, I was like, that's Trevor. That's
Did you ask
Trev.
him who his daddy was?
I should, eh, Trev?
okay.
You got some kids out
Yeah,
there?
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't do the
And,
math on it.
Exactly. So
You can edit that out later.
I
that was
said-
uncalled for.
So one day I said I gotta tell him.
Yeah.
So I said, hey man, like I see you here all the time. I say you look exactly like my buddy does, and it's amazing. I said you're like his doppelganger, and so we just started. The guy's super nice, Tristan, super nice guy. And then he tells me his name's Tristan, so now sometimes I end up calling him Trevor when I see him because
Yeah.
of the T thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I said, oh, you gotta meet
So you
Trevor.
dragged him out for a beer.
I
with
dragged him
Trevor.
out.
That's
I
too
contact Trev and I say, Trev, you got to come and meet your doppelganger.
But it was also like doing that to him, in that, do you want to come along while I catch up with a buddy
Yeah,
the
that's
catch up
yeah.
over the past
That's
10
typical
years.
DDT, though.
Yeah, the
That is
catch up over the
typical
past
DDT.
10 years,
Yeah.
and you'll
Yeah.
be there as the person who looks like
Yeah.
who I'm catching up with.
Kill two birds at one.
Yeah.
So
with one
take
stone.
notes, and then you can pretend you're him in the future, and I
Yeah.
can just talk to you like
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
talking to my old buddy.
I don't need to get together with Trev anymore. I'll just
You're not obsolete.
That's right.
Tristan
yeah.
and say, so how's it going these days? You remember when we did Tom Green?
Yeah, yeah.
And he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I don't
pretty
remember
cool.
that. Yeah. So anyway, it was fun.
Yeah.
But he's a nice guy, though, eh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. So and you did see the resemblance from you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, he definitely seemed to. I mean, you were doing me a compliment. He's a good-looking guy.
Oh, he was. Yeah. I'm
yeah.
sure he gets the
And-
ladies. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But I just remember like in Algonquin, I was just not getting anywhere close to any sort of positive relationship with a female at all for whatever reason. I was just the magnetic pole opposite
No, but
of women.
you had a girlfriend during that time, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, for the first year.
For the first year.
For a bit of the
right.
first year, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Trev, take us back then. Like, so you and I started the original Tom Green show. First of all, tell
So
me
for the
your
listener, are we talking the 80s,
90s?
90s?
Midnight, 94.
Midnight, 94.
94.
You
Yeah,
guys
that sounds
are
right.
top of the class at Algonquin.
I don't know if we were top
I
of
did.
the
I did
class.
pretty good, but
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to your grades. No offense.
Oh,
But-
I did. I got honors.
Yeah. No.
Somehow
okay.
I graduated with
Yeah.
honors.
Okay.
Because I didn't show up most of the second year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
What
you were
do-
the go-getter. That's the thing, is that you were older than me and had done your own business stuff before.
That's
so,
true.
So like I was like, when you approached me about approaching him,
Yeah.
So you were definitely the person that initiated the whole thing.
You had some resume, and you were believable. You were easy to follow.
Yeah.
Nice.
He must know what he's doing,
He must know what he's doing,
right?
which is
I don't
the
know.
exact opposite of what I see in him today, but that's good.
Yeah, but he gets the ball rolling. That's
ball
what counts.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you watched the doc, first of all.
Yes.
Okay. So tell
Well,
me.
not all of it. I mean, like you said, I watched the parts I was in, and then I figured there
Nice.
was going to be a lot of flashing back, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if the rest
I think
of it
there
really
was.
matters.
So well, anyway, the parts
I'll
that
check the rest of it out.
the parts that you did see. First of all, tell us what your impression of it was.
I mean, it was directed by the person who's the main subject. So I mean, like right off the bat,
That's
that's
Tom. Though,
that's sort of my
yeah.
review. Yeah, is that, and if you don't start with that as a baseline, if you're going to call something a documentary, I don't know what conversation you're having about it at that point in time. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, how does this differ from an advertisement?
Well, it
or
wa-
a resume, basically, of what you did. I'm not saying it wasn't quality, because it was. I mean, the camera work and everything was really good, and it was
Well,
edited.
that's,
It
that's
had
our friend Chris.
yeah, it had really good pacing and everything like that.
Yeah.
That was fine. So it was well made.
Yeah.
It just sort of from the point of what a documentary is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Which I think at the very beginning of it, there's like this little cover, for lack of a better term, where he says that no documentary is objective. As soon as you put a camera into a situation, the situation changes.
Right.
And I think that's a very, I don't know, that's a get out of jail free card that I don't think really, that doesn't mean that there's no degrees of
Yeah.
accuracy or whatever that exist.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to be completely objective. Therefore,
Yeah.
let me,
Yeah.
you can't critique this. And I was like, well, you kind of.
Well, it was funny too because his mom actually says it.
Yeah.
His parents are in the doc a lot, and his mom actually says it. Like basically, she says, "Well, to quote, you can whitewash it."
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
And
was
strictly
funny,
from
that
an
was funny.
outsider, I feel you guys both have a problem with the definition of what he called it, because he came right out at first and made light of that and talked about
Yeah.
how, which for me I thought was pretty cool. Like I like that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
guys are professionals, so I think you have a lot of, and you're connected to it personally. So
Well, I think my like so, as I told Duff, like what happened was, it came out on a Friday, and as soon as I got home, my wife's like, "Come and watch the doc," and I'm like, "Great."
Is
Can
that,
I-
is that your usual voice for her?
yeah,
Yeah, that's my usual.
He
that's
uses
my wife's
he uses
voice.
his
Come and watch the doc.
voice from time to time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Does she listen to this?
no,
Not
Okay.
regularly.
not sometimes. Well, I tell her that I talked about her,
Yeah.
She's like, what did you say about me?
And what tone did you ever ask that? How did you?
Well,
what tone did you use when you used my voice?
Yeah, I say, money doesn't matter. That's what I tell her. I said, this is the kind of voice I use for you.
Oh no.
His wife makes an appearance in spirit when we talk about budgeting and money.
Exactly.
A lot, it seems.
Our segment, we have a segment called Money Doesn't Matter.
Okay.
That came from my wife.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She somehow took on this money doesn't matter thing. I don't know how, why. But
It
anyway,
was prior to Christmas.
I think it was.
Like anything that needed to be bought for Christmas,
Exactly.
and it didn't matter how much it was,
Right.
Yeah,
Because
money-
it's for Christmas.
Exactly.
It's for Christmas.
Money didn't matter.
Money
Now
didn't
we
matter.
know.
It's not saying material doesn't matter or stuff.
It's like the opposite.
The opposite
Money
of
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
because
It's like-
because the stuff matters so much.
Yeah.
You spend whatever. Okay.
Exactly.
I misunderstood what you meant.
Exact yeah.
So I get home. It's like 6 o'clock, whatever, Friday. Come and watch the doc. So she turns it on, right, and we're watching it, whatever, and it comes to our part. So my impression of the doc was it is very much Tom,
Sure.
because Tom was always about Tom. And I told you there's one part, Duff.
Well, and I, as,
In-
as an outsider, I saw the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and I told.
Highly entertaining, though, from my perspective.
But here's
Yeah.
a little inside story that.
Yeah.
And Trev, you might remember this. Is there's a thing in the doc? I don't know if you saw this, where Tom says he's sitting beside Glenn, and the shot is with Glenn and Tom in the shot, and Tom's like, "The camera wasn't on me; it was on Glenn, so I want to be in your shot." To paraphrase what was going on.
Yeah, an old clip from the show. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an old clip from our show, and the, behind the scenes was that Tom and I actually argued one time because he said that I wasn't showing him enough.
Right.
Do you remember that?
No, I believe
Okay.
it, but I
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But isn't
he's-
it cool
was upset
included
that I,
that in the doc? Because it gave us all that image of how he is. That's his personality.
Yeah, but you wouldn't,
Right.
like, when you see that just off the cuff, you wouldn't think about that like that.
I thought about it a little bit. I'm
Really?
like, God, this guy really likes to be on the camera. I definitely thought of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he did play it off as a very
Yeah.
self-deprecating
Yes,
thing, though, right?
yes,
But that's
yes.
But there was
I
an
think
argument there
very
because he felt,
self-deprecating.
as I directed the show,
Yeah.
that he felt that I wasn't showing him enough
I think that's great.
during the show.
That's classic.
Even though
Yeah.
the camera was on him all the
Yeah.
time. Like,
Yeah.
how would it not be?
yeah.
right? So it was just kind of funny that he included that in the doc, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. Anyway, so what were your impressions of, I guess, our part then in the doc?
Well, I mean, just to correct Duff, that we're both not professionals. Darcy does it for a living. I don't anymore.
Okay.
So I don't want to take any stolen.
But
or you call
back
it
then,
stolen,
would you not
stolen
have called
valor.
yourself a professional?
No,
Oh,
I wasn't getting paid.
You were
for it.
amateurs.
You
Yeah.
weren't getting paid for
Oh
it.
yeah, it was the college days.
That's right.
KK.
So yeah, so I never got to get that label.
So even
I
on
don't deserve
Rogers,
it.
you guys weren't paid.
No.
Oh,
Well, there was some money at one point.
but no, it wasn't a real. I see what Trevor's saying. It wasn't really a. You guys
No.
still needed a job, like outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was the real trick.
Yeah.
Was especially like the school thing was the. I shouldn't answer the question.
No,
But
yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
again, like I was saying earlier, I mean, I think the doc was very well made and really well paced, well shot, and everything like that. It's just
Yeah.
from a philosophical point of view, that's where it's more of a problem of what it's masquerading as and what
Sure.
it actually is.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, very much the narrative of it was kind of like a star that was meant to be, and things kind of, us just happening to be in school and us starting a show together. It just kind of like poof was growing out, and then CBC took notice, and then so and so took notice, and it was like kind of that wasn't really how it happened. I mean, we were jumping up and down in front of them all the time, trying to get their attention and try and woo them. And it's like just kind of minimizing that. It's like, well, once it happened, you can easily tell us. But yeah, so I don't know. So I think it just kind of minimized the amount of work that went into trying to get to that next level.
Yes.
Because it makes a better narrative of a star.
That's true.
Right.
I think my wife said, like, she felt that he portrayed us, you and I, Trev, it was fine. Like, it wasn't derogatory. It wasn't like, I just
No.
felt that it didn't really portray what we actually
Didn't cover the work.
did.
Yeah.
Like it was like Trevor and Darcy were with at school, and then
That's it.
that was basically
That's all he did. Yeah.
And then the class rose up and started doing it, and it was like, and some of the first night, I know a lot of people from
Yeah, it wasn't a
the
lot
class
of our
helped.
class that was there.
the first night. I remember to get things going, and then they had their own lives, and they were in school too, so they just they didn't have that. Oh, I have to do that. Like, so I totally understand that, but it was mostly people from Rogers, and
Yeah,
a
that's
couple of people that we knew. Yeah,
Exactly. There was
Not to minimize that. I'm just it wasn't this communal raising of a village. Is that whatever the saying is?
There was a couple people that from our class that came out all the time,
Yeah,
but that's it. I think a couple.
yeah,
Like Melissa would come out all
Melissa,
the time.
Cyril, and
Cyril, yeah.
Shauna.
Shauna, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would come out all the time. But other than that, we didn't have many class members, and that it was sort of portrayed maybe a little bit as being a class thing. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
and again, that kind of goes to the work of organizing and stuff like that, getting volunteers and getting it all together. Because it's not like people that just took the course and know everything that they're doing. They're still kind of learning the ropes necessarily, and we're trying to pull off something that looks reasonably, a reasonable facsimile of a show. So there was a lot of work to make sure everything got pulled together.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you remember of our days at Algonquin? Like, as far as like
In general.
like
fun
about
stuff.
with Tom and stuff like that. Because I remember doing a lot of. We had these assignments, right, where we had to go out, and it was usually you, me, and Tom, and maybe a couple other people would go out and do these like stupid assignments.
And
Right.
this
You've been-
was the core of the show eventually, kind of, right? Like some
It
of those
almost
scenes.
was, yeah. Well, you remember the dancing barrassas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't part of that one, but
Yeah.
I definitely remember it was funny and it was bizarre, and that was
And the lobster in the pond at Center Point.
Mm-hmm.
What are your memories? What do you recall of like that time, like with Tom and stuff like that?
Like before the show, that year before.
Yeah, like just during school. And you remember anything like that would stand out to you? That would be like.
Did you have a favorite assignment that never made the air or something like that?
No, not really. No, I'm glad the things I.
Did you ever make it into Tom's parents' bedroom like we saw on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty funny, that
Yeah.
stuff. Were you guys
when
at
I
that
got-
point during the college days, or did that only happen once the show
No,
got going?
that was like we were in second year during the first year of the show.
Yeah.
That stuff
Oh,
is
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember very well what was in first year and what was in second for the show when we had more time. I just know that during that 1 year of overlap, it was like we still were probably putting in like 40 hours a week on the
Oh, yeah.
show,
Wow.
and then the class as
Yeah.
well. And so like having a job was impossible.
Yeah.
So then whenever we didn't have the school anymore, I was like, okay, now we can try getting try and work in there,
Yeah.
or whatever. But I mean, there still was a lot of
Jeez.
demands on our time that made it hard to do that.
Well, that's true. I wasn't in the class picture. You were in the class. Like the whole class was there at the end of the second year.
Yeah,
There was
you
a
weren't
class
there.
Picture. I wasn't there.
Were you working or something?
I was not in that picture, so I cannot prove to anybody that I
you
went
even
to
did
school with
second year.
Tom.
Yeah.
But what happened there was we had a show the night before, and I had to bring all the audio gear back.
Oh, okay.
And I slept in and completely forgot that we had a class picture that day. So I was just, slept in and then ended up bringing the audio gear back, and then got into school and
God,
it
you
was
guys
like
missed
you
it.
missed the
Guys were
class
like-
picture.
You guys were like starving artists, kind of, eh? Like you're doing a million things, not making any money,
Yeah.
and hoping to get to the next level. Like
What was-
something had
what
to
was your-
give eventually.
what were you thinking?
What were your hopes at that time?
What
Yeah.
did you want to do?
I didn't know where I wanted it to go. I just figured like it was going somewhere, and I wanted to. So yeah, I really didn't have pictured how I was going to fit, and I still don't know how it would have worked. But I just assumed there would have been a little bit more of the
same.
stuff,
Yeah.
of a professional version of it to see if I could keep up. But yeah, it kind of got. No. We'll get some real people now. As soon as there was money involved, it's like we don't need this dude hanging around. So like, no, okay. But,
Well, that was it. I mean, to me, it was like, well, right from the beginning, I was like, I think Tom is talented. I like the stuff that he did on his radio show.
Yeah.
I think it should be on television because it would be funnier if people could see it. And I thought we could probably take it somewhere.
But I think also that's where you being a go-getter really helped me imagine it being possible. Because they're like, me having lots of ideas, sure, but executing on something, not so much. So it's like, okay, you know how to execute on stuff. So it's like I was much more comfortable with shooting a little higher with my ideas and stuff because I figured that you'd get stuff done.
Well, it didn't work out like
Get
that.
sponsors and stuff like that. I get,
We did get sponsors in the end.
Yeah.
But the thing was, like, to me, it was like, it was kind of like a dream, like, for me a little bit, if you just want to say it like that, like, to get a TV show.
It was probably a lot of fun. You guys must have enjoyed it to do it. But at some point, you're like, I got to be an adult. Like, were
that
you
was
hoping,
exactly it. Yeah.
like, you guys went out on your own terms, it sounds like. You said, well, we got to make money and start living our lives. But do you ever lament not toughing it out another year or so and maybe being part of a bigger thing down in the States and all that?
because I
or am I oversimplifying?
No, you're not. I don't think. I think that sounds like a reasonable goal, but I think the way it kind of all played out, that was not going to be possible.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like when you're the mode, like audio assistant is probably like one of the most beginner things you can get,
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
so being delegated, like, so it was like on the night before
Right.
the big shoot of the new thing, like I get the call that it's like, okay, you're just going to be holding the boom mic, It's like, and I just didn't show up. I'm like, okay, that's I kind of know where that's coming from.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and that was it. Like we had gone from like the important roles in the show,
Key roles
in the show, to basically
holding
like
mics.
you're gonna hold the mic.
You as well, DDT? You're both
pretty
kind
much,
of pushed aside? Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know what? There was a progression there. Like they said, like Tom says in the doc, we the CBC had
a lot of
know if
resources on
I don't
their
know.
own.
I don't know if it was like through Chris. I think it was through Chris that the CBC was interested because he had a personal connection with their program manager here in Ottawa.
Yes.
And so he had talked to Al. I think his name was Al Presby.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and he had talked to Al and to giving us a shot, and it was you and me, and Tom and Chris.
Yeah.
As the original pilot producers for CBC Ottawa, and they gave us money to do that, but then Tom and Chris had a bit of a falling out.
Yes.
Which affected the whole crew, and then we just kind of went back to doing the weekly show.
Yeah, that's right. Like we never even got stuff put together, right?
No.
We never. Yeah.
Like, because I think it was one of those creative things, right? Like where you get like the artist being, I guess in this case, Tom, wanting to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And then you get the suit, what in that case was Chris, who was very creative and was an artist in his own right, winning a Gemini Award. That he says, no, we have to do kind of what CBC wants us to do.
Well, I think he also was like CBC wants there to be some sort of subtext or whatever. So he definitely was thinking that there would have to be some sort of message underneath it all, which is kind of antithetical to what the show really was,
Exactly.
But it was like, we're not gonna,
Well, Tom must have fought that tooth and nail.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like, we'll just go and do our segments.
We'll do it
bring
anyways.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we usually do, and yeah. So that's where it fell apart. I just remember really quickly just to talk about like my level of professionalism. When we
it's good because DDT doesn't really have that.
No,
so
right?
it's
Oh
like
no, this is amazing. Like
to bounce it out.
No. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll come up. I have a computer, right? I was like excited. I had a Mac computer, not like a cool Mac, like the Macintosh.
God, that
Oh,
must have
yeah,
been
yeah,
expensive
yeah.
in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, and I have a spreadsheet, so I can make
Oh.
up the budget. And so we were verbally talking about everything.
Yeah.
And Chris was kind of mixing up, overall rates for 5 days. That would be $5,000 or whatever. And other things were, this much at this, like, so he got the sometimes would say 5 days at that would be total this, and sometimes
Yeah.
they'd say 5 days at $100 a day would be whatever. And I got it mixed up, and I just multiplied everything by the number of days he told me, even if that was the total amount. And so there's the huge amount.
Money doesn't matter.
And then,
Money doesn't matter.
but
doesn't
nobody
matter.
looked at it before we walked into the meeting. Nobody had looked at it and then had it out, and he's like, "What the hell?" And then we're figuring it out in the meeting, and I'm like, "Oh, I misunderstood what you meant there." Now that's
awesome.
embarrassing. I know I was very young for my age in a lot of ways.
I
at that
didn't know.
time.
I don't remember you doing that.
That's
That's
great.
actually funny.
That stings pretty good.
Yeah. What do you mean the show is going to cost $150,000
Yeah.
for one pilot?
Yeah.
I'll give you 5. Yeah. I think they gave us 5,000. That was it. in the
That
end.
could have been it, yeah.
I don't think the budget mattered at that point. It's
No.
like, this is what we're going to give you, so whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was very much like that creative creative differences between Tom and Chris, and you and I were sort of caught in the middle of that.
Yeah.
On one end, I was like, well, let's just give the CBC what they want, and then we can do whatever after.
Right.
But on the other hand, I also understood, like, okay,
You probably saw the
We're
longer
selling
term
out a bit.
where you wanted to keep on the CBC for a while.
yeah,
Because you probably knew in your heart if you just did what you wanted to do after the first episode, they're going to question you, wouldn't they?
I mean, yeah, I had a feeling that it'd be really hard to well, if we gave it up, that it would be hard to get it back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I mean, it wouldn't be ridiculous if we could start squeezing stuff in again, like we occasionally would do if we thought something might not make it past, our paid producer at
Yeah.
Rogers. It was like we just kind of accidentally didn't show him it. And
Yeah.
then until it was on air, and then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
so like trying to sneak something in, and then once it has a big reaction, you're like, okay,
with
at
the
least-
grandmother and the vibrator.
right, yeah, like just the huge big laugh is like, he's like, oh, I still wish you had told me first,
exactly.
but
Well, that was what I was saying to Duff last week. That
Yeah.
that show got pulled right
That's
after.
classic.
yeah,
It was like, you can't air that again. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time to doing that. And then when that got nixed, fell off a cliff, then yeah, we just sort of went back to doing our regular show every week.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until it got revived. And that's when we got sort of relegated at that point.
Yeah, so do you remember that clearly? Because I don't. It's a little foggy. I'm not sure if that's me mentally blocking
Well-
off stuff I don't want to dwell on, but
Yeah.
I forget how that the second shot came.
Well, I remember that Tom had said to us that he found a producer that could revive the show,
Right.
the pilot.
Okay.
And that was Marilyn.
That was Marilyn Reed. Okay. Yeah.
And we had
Right.
met with her.
So it wasn't comedy, whatever network or Central.
No,
or
that
whatever
was
then. Network?
after we actually did the pilot.
That was after the pilot. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was Marilyn, and then that's when we were kind of told like.
Yeah. Okay. I was making the pilot for that.
Yeah.
For her.
and
Yeah.
When our roles kind of diminished at that point, unfortunately, and Marilyn, I understand where she was coming from. She was always nice to us, but at the same time, she was towing Tom's line because
Yeah.
that's the artist, so that's
Yeah.
the talent, I guess, and you got a couple other guys that were on the show from time to time, but really in the background.
Yeah. It was really easy to kind of just minimize what we'd done up to that point, and I guess fair enough. Like that, I always knew that we were exposed anyway. Like we couldn't. Like I remember, like as it started getting closer to the end, you were like, we should really try to get him to sign something, or whatever.
Well,
And I
even
was-
Derek was on to that. Derek wanted that too.
really,
Yes.
because I don't know, I didn't know that. So Derek Harvey is just
Was
literally like he came on kind of second year because he just finished school too,
Yeah, he
right?
had finished school and came on. Tom asked.
And he was like a huge creative force
Oh,
too.
for
He was
sure,
a very,
yeah.
very extremely funny guy, and I didn't know he also wanted the contract thing because
He did, yeah.
it just seemed like what's the point? He's never going to sign it, and he's just going to get angry,
Yeah.
or embittered and bring that up and use it against us potentially. So so I was very much like the middle kid, I guess, always trying to.
I think
Yeah.
we both like the middle kids.
Yeah. Well, just in
In a lot
that
of ways.
trying to fix things or whatever, I guess, or like me not wanting to rock the boat too much.
Well,
But yeah.
I mean, that's where it kind of ended, and I think we just said at that point, like, we're not going to prostitute ourselves anymore.
Yeah.
For this.
You had
this
to
type
cut
of
your
thing.
losses at some
We
point.
had to cut our
I think
losses.
it's more
I mean-
about you guys again becoming adults, and
Well,
you
that
couldn't
was-
just
that
keep
was-
hanging on, not knowing
Yeah.
when it would go big.
Well, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened at
Yeah.
that point. Well, for me anyway. I don't know about you, Trev, but for me it was like, okay, now you did the pilot. Now you got to wait for
Yeah.
CBC to decide what they want to do,
Right.
and it was like, I don't know how long that's going to take. In the meantime, Rogers was offering me a job,
Yeah.
and I had just graduated, right? So it was like, well, if they want to hire me, I might
You
as
had
well
to do
go
what
and
you
work
had
there.
to do,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Did you go right to Rogers from
Yeah.
there? Okay.
Well, yes and no.
Right.
There was a job, as you know. In
Oh, yeah,
between
that, okay.
where we worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know this job. Why are you guys grinning like a couple of alley cats right now?
You've never talked about that job?
Off air.
Oh,
Not on air.
Not on air,
This
no.
is interesting.
Yeah.
No.
I'll
Not
leave it
on
in
air.
your. Okay.
I won't press you on that then.
I think it
DDT.
was about 6 months, was it not? In
6
between.
months
It was
of
kind
a
of
mystery
like
job.
6 months for me in
Okay.
between me getting hired by Rogers,
And the end of
which
the
was
Tom
kind
Green
of in the
adventure.
works, and yeah, there
Huh.
was, I think it was about 6 months.
Yeah, that could be because I got hired after you. You were there for a while, and then you weren't there for that
I
long.
thought you were there before me.
No.
No?
Was
No.
this the delivery business?
No.
Oh.
No. This was.
Was it the
delivering
bootlegging?
something?
We were delivering something. Yes.
Oh.
Well, that sounds so much worse now. That I say it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were delivering something to people across North America.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Well, more in the States, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it. But yeah.
I'm
So anyway, it doesn't
fascinated.
really matter. But I remember that that job, and then you getting something real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. They eventually hired me on. I think it was in the works. I was taking that job in the meantime.
Right.
I believe I was in the works for them hiring me as a staff producer there, based on my work on the show for the last couple of years. So
Right.
I was lucky in that respect to go on and do that, and I couldn't wait around, and I didn't want to work at that place for that long.
Yeah.
Corrupting my mind even
Yeah.
more than it was corrupted before.
Or
But
mercy,
I didn't want to. So
I think I know what this job was now.
yeah,
I
and-
remember.
Yeah, and
We don't have to bring it up on
no,
the air.
and I knew it wasn't going to be working with Tom anymore because we had basically quit the show at that point.
Trevor, where did your road take you at this point?
Yeah, I think that's. I just knew what Darcy was doing, so I was following along like a dog. Yeah,
Bad
trying
decision.
to get hired
decision.
where he's, Darcy's making money, and
Okay.
and I was able to do the same stuff as Darcy. Not everything, but it's like that could be.
Yeah.
So I followed you, and then then went to news, which also was following you.
Yeah. We worked
Which
together
that's
again.
really embarrassing. Yeah. So again, you and that was when I decided I don't even want to do TV anymore.
Okay.
Like the news was just
Actually, I think
so soulless.
I think
Yeah.
I got you that job.
I think you probably did. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because you were editing, right? You were editing for news? Weren't you an editor?
no, I was supposed to be like the librarian.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And like the nerdiest position ever. Nobody took it seriously.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, like archiving footage and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Yeah. And that's when you stopped after that, eh? How long were you there for? I forget now.
Oh, I think it was about a year. About a year every
Yeah, and
day.
then you said forget this.
Yeah, every day just gritting my teeth and saying I fucking hate it here.
That's time.
Constantly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
It's because I again just my brilliant so like very early on there were like some guys shooting the shit. The director was like a really young guy, Jason something or other, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know why I felt comfortable making a small dick joke to him. But I did, and he never he fucking hated me from that day forward. And Yeah. And it was like, but he was
Critical
like,
moments in one's career.
He was like, he's hanging with the guys, he's chatting, and I was like, okay. And it's like, so then everybody's like, well, maybe he does have a small dick then. Like when I'm trying to explain, I'm like, he hates me now because I said that. And I'm like, oh, that makes it worse if people are going to start saying that. But yeah, so I think that was the end of my growth for, okay, maybe I'm not meant for this environment of people. And
Right on.
yeah.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard that.
There you go.
Told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's when I completely shifted and just got into like computers and stuff. And
Yeah,
so-
you're still working in IT today, right?
yeah, more or less. Yeah.
More or less, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a funny time, like for us back in the day, during that time of doing Tom Green.
I think one thing that I'm trying to remember clearly is we did a special from like Super X,
Yes.
which again was logistically really tricky to do. And looking back on it, like holy shit,
The X,
we
like
did that.
the fair?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You remember Super X
Yeah,
down
for
at
sure.
Lansdowne Park?
Ah.
Yeah.
So they invited us to do a show there.
Was that it? They
I
invited?
believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I know we had a booth. We had a booth there for the week that I had merch and up, and the show kind of playing in the background to try and because we were still really promoting.
You're advertising.
Advertising ourselves, but we actually did have a show
Oh, that's
with like
fun.
a big screen, and it was too bright out, and you could barely see the screen. It didn't work well, but
Well-
it just the concept, the balls of it was
Yeah.
really kind of like holy shit. you
Well,
know?
we had a whole stage. They gave
Cool.
us
yeah.
they gave us a massive stage
Huh.
to do it. They had like where they had other acts performing and stuff like that. And so they gave us that stage, and it was an interesting show. We had Max Keeping on, I believe.
Max Keeping.
We had Lowell Green.
Lowell Green.
I'm not sure. I don't remember Max Keeping, but that's totally
Was it?
possible.
Oh, maybe
Green.
you're right. Maybe it was Lowell Green.
I think I think that might have been the
Lowell
main one.
Green. If
He
anybody
interviewed
knows.
Lowell Green.
Well, yeah, Tom.
Wow.
Yeah, he came on.
Okay.
So Lowell Green, for all the Podbeanskis out there,
Yeah.
he
For the-
was
for the what?
Podbeanskis.
People who listen to the show.
People who listen to the show in Romania.
Okay.
We had a couple listeners from there.
Okay, good stuff.
For-
Hello,
Yeah.
Romania.
Oddly
It's
enough.
growing. It's growing
Yeah.
like crazy.
Oddly enough. But so Lowell Green was a radio talk show host
Local right
Local-
winger on the
yeah.
radio.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And he had a huge following. Like he was one of
Very
like a
popular.
very popular
Very
guy
popular.
here in Ottawa. So we
Yeah.
had him on the show.
yeah.
That for the Super X, and the place was packed.
It was. There was a lot of. That's the thing. I was still kind of blown away that we were able to get enough people to come.
it's
And
packed.
it was still, yeah. It was still like when we managed to pull off a crowd. It's like holy shit.
Yeah.
We did it.
Exactly. And that was probably the pinnacle of the show back then.
Yeah. That
one.
really felt like yeah.
Because it was a special, because it was off, like the season ran from September to June, but of course the Super X ran in August,
Yeah.
right? So that was a off-season show.
That's
for us.
right. Yeah. And because it was remote, like it
was
just
remote, yeah.
felt like that doubled up our
Logistically,
our gravity at the station too. That we warranted a remote. You know, like
Yeah.
that was big enough that I feel like
yeah, you got the truck out there,
exactly. Yeah.
setting up the cameras and
That's
the lighting
exciting.
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it would have been fun.
It
Yeah.
was fun actually.
Because we were very much like the first year we were competing against minor league baseball for the
The
Ottawa
Ottawa
Lynx.
Lynx.
the Ottawa Lynx at the time. And I
That and
remember-
the Ottawa 67s,
yeah,
the hockey team.
yeah, but
Junior A.
The
but-
Lynx were very popular back then, too.
Yeah.
You had a tough act. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. And I remember again, like the first year. I can't remember when we won the award, the community.
Oh, the
producer
one
award.
that
one
Tom
that Tom
showed us
in the
in,
doc. Yeah. Which technically is the only time our names and producer were mentioned in the same.
That's right.
You know, but I mean, like, not. I do notice these little things. But anyway, like the first year, I remember it was like, yeah, we're still doing school. We have this show. It's like
Yeah.
pretty. And I remember like the community producer, the guy, or not the paid producer, the guy who was actually from Rogers, who did the Lynx, was still like trying to. He still thought, well, Lynx should get show of the year because
Yeah.
it's a more
The
complicated.
Lynx.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's the same every year. Like what? Yeah.
I love baseball, but
and-
that's not very creative.
Yeah, and honestly, it's run by a guy that's getting
Yeah.
paid to do it, as
Same
opposed
thing.
to yeah,
There's nothing creative or new.
yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
other thing interesting about that is that our esteemed mayor today, was the broadcast
Mark
host.
Sutcliffe.
Yeah, he was the host of the Lynx baseball.
Oh,
He
is
would
it not?
do,
Was
he?
Yeah, he would do. I don't. You call it play-by-play, and
Play-by-play and color.
Color,
There's
yeah.
usually two guys.
well,
in
I
the
mean,
booth.
in baseball, is it different? You
I
call
don't
it
know.
play-by. Well, anyway, he
I know
was
what you
doing.
mean. Yeah,
He was
yeah.
color, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was doing that. He was calling
Okay.
calling the games
Huh.
back then because he's a big baseball fan.
And you did a show, the whole Ottawa business thing. That was him, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I
Yeah.
produced. Well, that's when I was full time.
Yeah, I forgot you're like. So yeah, you have like close connections to the mayor. Can
Well,
you
not
call-
only that, I went
can
to
you-
high school with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like, can you phone him?
I
I don't mean right now.
I
He's
tried to-
always talking how he's getting him on the show.
Yeah.
but
I tried
to get him
haven't
on the
seen
show,
it yet.
Oh no.
But,
The ball ain't rolling so fast there.
but he's been blocking me out. Well, I should say not him. You got to go through
His
his
people?
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I
But
mean.
he,
Can you call him?
he actually owes me.
He did ask you to do something very recently.
That's right.
though.
He owes me.
Yeah, he did something.
He owes me now
Yeah.
because just a little quick side story here. So I was at the Canadian Tire Center
Right.
before
Yeah.
the World Juniors
Yes. Did a
championships,
little
and
hit with them there.
and part of the world this thing was doing a Canadian citizenship swearing-in
Oh,
ceremony
right,
for
right.
new Canadians
Yeah.
down at the CTC, and just so happens the mayor attended that ceremony
yeah.
along with some execs from the IIHF, or no, from Hockey Canada, and afterwards he sees me. He says, "Hey, Darce, can you do me a favor?" I said, "Sure." He goes,
So
"I need-
like Darce, you're
Yeah.
like fucking. Okay,
Yeah.
he's using a a contraction on your name.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's still close enough, but you can't get through to
Oh,
him.
for sure, yeah.
Okay, go on,
Like
sorry.
he
Very
says,
perceptive.
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Yes.
can you do me a favor?" I said, "What's up, Mark?"
Darce.
And he's,
Yeah, Darce.
yeah. I said, "What's up, Mark?" He goes, "I need to shoot this greeting that's going to air before the first game on the big screen there. Can you shoot it for me?" Okay, sure, no problem. What do you need?
Let me get my phone out.
Yeah, let me get my phone out. No, because I was there with my camera. So anyway,
okay.
I shot that for him and did a couple of takes, and then the VP from Hockey Canada comes up, and I met him, and I said, "Well, where do you want me to send this?" And so I sent it off, and they used it for before the game, the first
Cool.
game. So Mark owes me. Mark,
There you
you're
go.
listening, which you're
Mr.
not.
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, you owe me.
Or you can call him Marco, maybe.
Well,
Marco.
why would it be Marco?
Well, he calls you Darce. You got to twist his name up
Oh,
somehow.
yeah,
Call him Mar.
Mar.
Hey, Mar.
That doesn't work.
I'll just call him by his last name.
Sutz.
Hey, Sutcliffe.
Just call him Suts.
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 Give him the hockey kind of last
Yeah,
name. where
exactly.
you just-
Suddy.
Yeah,
Suddy.
yeah. We'll just take the first part of your last name and
Exactly.
sass it
Add
up
a
somehow.
Y on
yeah,
the IE
yeah.
or IE. Hey, Suddy. Yeah. Yeah. So, I got Suddy owes me.
Yeah,
But you can't get through his people.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
That's the problem.
right.
And the problem is you can't get through them.
And would he
he's
want to
busy all the
lower
time.
himself to our level of production?
I think that's an issue, yeah.
Yeah, that's a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the risk reward isn't there because
Yeah,
it's something on the record if he gets gotcha'd.
Yeah. He's not getting any votes coming
Yeah.
on Cop Car
Wow.
Coffee. Eh?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
no
no
offense.
There's no gotchas
None
on our
taken.
program.
I mean, the fans in Romania,
Yeah, exactly.
might be blown away with what he has to say, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to help him in any way, shape, or
No,
form.
exactly.
I'm not sure he could lighten up for the show either, to be honest. He seems a little stiff.
Very
I'll be
stiff.
honest.
Yeah. Well, we
Does he ever laugh?
Interviewed,
Smile?
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
He interviewed us. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember doing his radio show?
Oh, radio show.
Yeah, when Mark did. Mark was also on CFRA with Low Green. I think he followed Low Green or something like that.
I
Or
enjoyed listening
he
to
did.
him on CFRA.
And he had us on, you, me, and Tom, one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did we go to the studio?
We went
for
to
that?
the studio. We were in
Okay.
the studio.
Barely remember that.
Yeah.
I'd like to
that
find
makes
that
sense.
audio. That'd be fun to listen to.
I'm sure they would still have it. I mean, they probably keep everything over there.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a lot of fun
Yeah.
doing that.
I don't know. That would have been like still physical media days, so I don't know if they'd keep it that long. I mean, when
I
it's
hear.
digital.
I hear sometimes they play stuff from way back. In the
Really?
day.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If they were talking to Martin Luther King, they might
Yeah.
have a replay of
Yeah.
that. I don't think
Tom and you
Tom
guys.
and I would get hits in the same.
Let's make sure
Right.
we archive this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vacuum seal it so
Yeah.
it doesn't become.
I was gonna
decompose.
say. I mean, as a former tape librarian, you would.
Yeah, no, stop it. How embarrassing.
Oh God. Yeah. So what else? What else do you have to say about the old show? What else do you remember? Something that I maybe forgot.
Right.
Could be lots.
I'm trying to.
Probably forgot lots. I don't know.
Well, as Trevor recalls his memory, sometimes I wonder, with the modern era in media production these days and how everybody's got things on their phone, anyone can shoot something.
Yeah.
If you guys had everything kids have today, back when you guys were kids, do you think you would have had any success getting stuff out there, like your ideas and your creativity? Or would it have worked against you?
I think I would have still been okay.
Okay.
But
Because you guys worked your butts off doing, like, the tech must have been hard because it wasn't so available even, right?
yeah, the whole.
You accessed it all at college, I guess, and then...
No, for that we got everything through Rogers.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
Rogers
and-
Television. Yeah.
And the deal what we kind of evolved into, like the live show, was like using like proper equipment and stuff like that.
Right.
And then basically they had one camera that was so shitty that nobody ever booked it, so we could just
You got
take
to
it for
use
the whole
that.
weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So
Okay.
we didn't have to book it for a time slot or
Okay.
whatever, and that worked very well with the.
Okay.
I mean, I know Darcy. It drove you crazy how fluid the timing could be, where it was like just. Okay, we're going to show up and think about what we're going to shoot and have
Well,
some coffee. And it was never really clear when it was going to start or when it was going to end.
That's like the show today, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Well, what happened there was it used to be where we would get together
Yeah.
Yeah.
and stuff was ready to go.
Yeah.
But then it got
Yeah.
to a point over time somehow that when we did get together to do some shooting, that nobody had anything.
But you see what I'm
And-
saying, though, a
and-
bit? Hang on. Like, there are kids these days that are making $100,000 a month using social media
Yeah.
with their creative
Yeah.
ideas. And I wonder if you guys were either born now or if this stuff was available back then, do you think you guys could have took advantage of that somehow?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean,
It's a
Yeah,
weird
for sure.
thought. I always wondered about the generations, and
No,
we look at
absolutely.
kids these days, and sometimes I wonder, well, why aren't there a million people out there making all sorts of money off their creative ideas and their crazy skits and
well,
stuff?
I think there is
like,
probably
Maybe,
a million
eh?
people out there making money off
Well,
crazy stuff.
I don't know.
I don't. I
I've
don't
seen
think,
some of the stuff that my kids watched,
Yeah,
and it's like you
It's
see their
garbage.
It's
garbage,
and you
but
see
they're making money.
Well,
Yeah.
they've got like 2 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm like, why would anybody watch this? It's terrible.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand how some of the viewership
Yeah.
things work, but it can't scale to get that kind of money. You're still looking at the tip of the iceberg of the people that manage to get themselves up there and get those views. There's
Right.
I think sure for every one of those, there's 10 people trying really hard to do the same shitty
Yeah.
thing
Yes.
you don't hear about.
Yes,
And I think
okay.
that doing the same shitty thing is the big part. A lot of what people are doing to try and raise above is kind of doing this prank on the street thing, but doing it
Yeah.
like without any
Yeah.
Okay. mirth to it.
Yep.
Like it's just being mean
Yeah.
to people or trying to get a reaction out of them that way.
It's not cool.
You know, and it's so I kind of feel like we started something bad as far as that goes.
Oh, okay.
Because it
good
definitely
point.
skirts the line
It
sometimes.
skirts the line.
Like a lot.
We
and that was kind of
definitely
fun.
did, yeah. Yeah.
But there was usually a point of like what would be too far and whatever, and so that was good. We talked about it, and it just seems like it looked so.
More now, there's no thought to that.
Yeah, there's
line
no
at
thought to
all.
it because it's
Yeah.
like it's just going to get us more attention.
Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. So
I agree.
So I don't know if if we were in that ecosystem, if I even would have wanted to do it.
Yeah, okay,
you know?
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of it too is some of the stuff I've seen is like, is there any talent there other
Yeah.
than just
Yeah.
any talent there other than just like being a jerk to people on the street,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
an
yeah.
a-hole to somebody on the street.
So there's less
For
accountability and there's less professionalism, but it's so powerful and it's in everybody's hands. Some of them are getting money out of it, but it's not.
There's no talent behind
No
it.
talent,
Whereas
yeah.
I think the biggest difference is, and I said this earlier, was that I do think Tom had talent. He has talent.
Absolutely.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? He has that. He's funny.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not. I do not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not deny that at all. Like
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm.
No,
trying to-
no,
but
no,
I think,
no, no,
But I think the really perverse thing would be like, so we'd do stuff, and it would take a week before we showed it in front of live people to find out if it was funny, and that was
Yeah.
just like a sample of people that liked the show, right?
Right.
You know, so that was
Yeah.
really hard to tell bigger how we were doing, but like with technology today,
Oh, yeah,
you get the instant
Instantaneous.
feedback.
Yeah, that's a
you know,
good comparison.
and that
Yeah.
has got to be very, very addictive for the person making
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Where I think that's where it starts to become unhealthy, and you stop worrying about whether it's
Yeah.
actually funny or not. If it's just
Yeah.
that got more likes, so yeah,
I'm
that's-
going to go harder and
Yeah.
harder and harder.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, it's like
And instantaneous, not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
week. You wouldn't
I
have
know.
to wait a week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, some people are doing it live streaming.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
their whole.
well,
Which again, I don't understand.
It
that
actually
either.
came up in the doc where, it was said that Jackass, that show Jackass,
Yeah.
Yeah,
was because of what Tom was doing on the street. A
Yeah.
lot of that stuff. So in a way, we're kind of like pioneers, if I can say that, in that genre of what you see a lot going on today. And like you said, it's taking it to more of an extreme level,
yes,
unhealthy level,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. And that's what social media and YouTube and all that sort of does. I mean, if we had
Sure.
YouTube back then, I think
That's what I wonder.
there's no doubt that I think we would have
Been massive right away.
probably been
Yeah.
a lot.
I
Yeah.
think so.
I don't know if we would have tried to do the show part. It would just be bits.
I
And
think it would just be bits, yeah.
And then I think,
Yeah.
I think there would still be the idea of trying to get that structure around, and that would still require a studio, and that's harder to do at home. So I think
Yeah.
I think that kind of veneer of still wanting to be like a valid show, like that was
Yeah.
sort of the
That's-
frame around it that
That's
we
true.
wanted.
That's a good point as well. Yeah.
Like it's like really, if you're looking back on it, you got him a suit every
Yes.
week, right? A suit that would get covered in crap.
Thanks to Tip Top Tailors.
Yeah,
Shout out
exactly.
to them for
Nice.
supplying the suits.
Every week. yeah.
And that's again Darcy the Go-Getter got the suit lined up and everything like that. But the point is, like, nobody, if you were pitching the show to somebody now and you're like, oh, and he'll wear a suit, and it's like, oh, you're supposed to be countercultural and whatever, like
Yeah.
So it's like the contrast of, and it's really simple, but it's like doing something kind of traditional,
Yeah.
and then having the crazy parts being mostly the skits or occasional interjections into the show.
Well, I think also, I mean, we came from a time back then where talk shows were big.
Yeah, they were huge.
Letterman, Leno,
That was his goal.
That
Yeah.
was Tom's
Right.
goal.
That
And
was-
it
yeah,
says
that was-
in the doc as well. That's
Yeah.
his goal. And I think for me, I don't know about you, Trev, but for me, that was kind of a similar thing. That was our goal, was to get a TV show, because
Yeah.
there wasn't anything else that you
Yeah.
could
There
do.
was no YouTube.
So it had to be more structured. It
Yeah.
had to be,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It had to be like a show.
And it was, and I think that's kind of important too, because you kind of have something to measure against and kind of see how you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas, if it was just a bunch of skits, it would be not skits. That's a bad word for it, but
Bits, yeah.
bunch of bits. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be much harder to tell what are you comparing it to.
Well, that's it, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think, if it was today, I think we would still probably been pretty big, even just doing the bits.
Yeah, no, I think that probably would have skipped the Rogers years and went right directly to
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
somebody with money
Yeah.
in to get the big show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I could see us having a lot of subscribers, as they say.
Right. Yeah.
What sort of
And-
vehicle
and-
would you use for the Slutmobile?
Oh, I don't know. That was
The Toyota?
That was a Toyota. I think.
No, you
I
could
would-
use
yeah.
your gray Toyota right
Oh,
now.
mine. Oh. Well, it was a Toyota, I believe.
Was it? Oh, just-
Right. I don't remember.
I don't recall. I think it was a Toyota Corolla. No, not a Camry.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, you know what? It could have been different for us too, if the whole point back then was to get a TV show, because that was elusive for people, right? That was knowing you have a TV show.
That was the goal.
Is you
Yeah.
kind of made it.
Yeah.
So we didn't stick around, but I think if we were doing it a YouTube style show today, and maybe making money from that, we could stick around. We could
Right.
have stuck around doing that. I don't see us getting outside of like we need an extra producer, we need a executive producer, we need this producer and that producer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think it would have been pared down to just one person, to be honest. Unfortunately, like
Right.
when you just think about the actual needs, it's like,
wouldn't
okay,
need it, yeah.
I just need somebody to point a camera and the microphone, and that's enough. I would have
Yeah.
a feeling that because like a lot of the stuff we were doing was around the mechanics of the big framework
That's true. Yeah.
and so it's like I don't think you'd immediately see the value in having extra people. And I tended to be like I was the easier one to push around. Like I was more malleable and naive. So I think that's why.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Darcy had more of a sense of his rights and stuff. Pesky.
Standing up for my rights.
Yeah.
The Marxist.
And mine, yeah.
The Marxist.
No, not
amongst you.
Marxist. But I don't know. I think for me, that it definitely was a different time, right? Like
Yeah.
it was just that time where, like I said, the goal was to have a TV show because, which is like Trev said, more structured and that sort of thing. And that's
What a
when
neat time, though. That was the golden era of a lot of this stuff, wasn't it?
It is weird.
I think.
Like,
Yeah, how and it seems like if you think back to the 80s, like there's a weird kind of corny tinge to it, and then it feels like the 90s is like one of those first looking back decades that still has like some sort of edge to it.
yeah.
For whatever reason, like it didn't have that campy feel. And so it was a really kind of, you
Great
didn't realize
time.
it at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
it was also the age of for people our age anyway. It was much music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
You know what I mean? Like, and that really was dominating a lot of
There was
the
that,
airwaves.
there was a
and
grunge, and there was a lot of just
and
kind of
their
rule-breaking.
hosts, their TV personalities, their talent, were big, right? And I remember one time we crashed one of their shoots here in Ottawa for our own purposes.
No
for
way.
our own show, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
And we ended up talking to the hosts and
Like the VJs?
the VJs,
The VJs,
the ones
yeah.
that were there. And
Can you remind me about this? I don't
Where
think
did they
it was
do
there.
that? Like
so
at a
it was
dance
on
club?
Spark Street.
Okay.
You remember Sam the Record Man? I
Yeah.
think it was Sam the Record Man. It used to be on Sparks at Bank
Okay.
Street. And they were doing some type of, I can't really remember exactly what, but they were doing some taping down
It's
there
amazing
for
they came
their.
up to Ottawa
Yeah,
for
they came up to
much
Ottawa for
music.
this.
Huh.
It was an
And-
HMV there.
Was it an HMV?
Yeah.
Okay, HMV. And they were doing this thing there, and we decided that we were going to crash it and disrupt their filming,
Yeah.
which we did.
Nice.
But they were good sports about it.
yeah.
And they had a good laugh with
Okay.
us along with it, and I think it made it. I don't know if it made it to their air, but we certainly. I don't recall what we did exactly, but
Again,
it was very much a time of when much music was big for our generation.
Yeah.
And so just crashing their thing, that we thought that would be funny because they were big, right? So. Well, we're gonna look at us with this little shitty TV show in Ottawa, Canada. and crash this huge national.
Inserting ourselves in there, which again, I don't think that aged very well. Not like what we did, I don't feel bad about, but that tendency to try and just become the sore thumb or whatever in some place to get attention.
Yeah.
It's like, again, if you don't do it in a certain way, it just comes off really.
Yeah.
So anytime I see
Yeah.
somebody do it, it's like, oh God, is that what we were doing and we just didn't realize it?
That's basically it.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
That's what
Yeah.
you guys were doing.
Yeah. Oh well.
So DDT, how are we doing for time?
We're about an hour.
There you go.
Yeah.
I tend to yammer on.
Yeah.
We all tend to yammer on.
Oh,
the
that's
show.
good. We covered a lot. I think any of the Podbeanskis that see the doc will get a lot of enrichment from this. That's kind of
I think for
a
sure.
little bit of behind the scenes is cool.
Not that I don't want to promote it, but
No, but
I'll
I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
promote watching the doc. It's the what's it called? The Tom Green Show documentary.
This is the Tom Green documentary.
This is the Tom Green documentary. It's on Amazon Prime.
cool.
You can watch it on there. And,
along with his other
he's
two
got-
other shows, like a comedy stand-up, a
he's got
stand-up show,
stand-up show,
and then one about just being in the country.
which they wanted me to be a camera on.
Right.
but they weren't paying anything.
Right.
Really.
Maybe the mule
And then-
is doing it.
Yeah, and then it's like the daytime, and you know where he lives, right?
Yeah.
It's like they don't want to do 2 consecutive days, so you don't
Yeah.
have to travel back home.
Drive there and back.
And they're not
every
going to
day.
put you up,
Oh, you
put
could-
you up in a hotel.
Oh, you could camp or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's about the.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think I want to do that. And then
Well, you
seeing
don't like
how
camping? You don't like s'mores?
no, I do, but seeing how Tom treats his
too big for camping. Is that what you're saying?
I'm
Yeah.
too big for camping.
Yeah.
And
You
seeing
could
how
sh-
Tom sort of
you
treats
could
his
share a
camera
nice-
people, too.
Yeah.
Share a nice bed with the mule.
Yeah, exactly. Go and sleep with the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just like, man, it doesn't make sense. Less money,
That's all.
me driving out there wasting gas, probably like, you know what I mean?
If you were retired, it'd be a fun side
Yeah,
project.
maybe
You
I
could be
would.
involved with all this crazy stuff because you wouldn't need money anymore.
Yeah.
Money
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Money doesn't.
That's true, but I think also that like goes a long way to you being like an actual proper camera person, and me not being that. Like I never had to do real. It was just like point at stuff happening. Basically, that was it. I was like a step up from a chimp, basically.
Well,
just
I mean-
follow what's going on and be available all the time.
That's all camera is,
And that-
really.
yeah, I know, but you can make it look good. Yeah.
Just pointing. Well,
Point and focus. Like there's lots of things you can get wrong. I know because I've done it before. I've done trying to do a proper one. Like oh damn, trying to get something in focus and you're zooming. Yeah, I'll panic. Very.
Well, I think that was. I know we're going on, but I think one of the things was like with Tom, right? He was always like, well, you got to. Again, the camera was always on him,
Yeah.
right? And so if it wasn't on him, then. And when we were shooting the stock, it was kind of the same thing when we were out at his farm.
Yes.
Was like the camera's always got to be on me,
Wow.
right? And it was like, so there was that level of when we were doing it, like that level of like, oh God, like when am I supposed to shoot here?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, like
Yeah.
I want to get the reaction of the person, but also at the same time when I know I'll hear about it later because Tom wasn't on camera. Right?
You
Yeah.
could be your true
You didn't-
cameraman
You
self.
didn't have
at
me
all.
on camera. Like, well,
Yeah.
Because we were talking to 3 other people, Tom.
we call it follow
Yeah.
the puck, basically.
Yeah.
You're following the puck.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You're just shooting and hoping you get what you get. And go
Yeah.
from there. But yeah, it was interesting times.
Yeah, I just like I said, I don't think I could have been a professional camera person like you were after. Or at least I never pursued it. Never had the guts to be able to do it. You were doing it for news. There would be the other
Yeah.
example. You were able to shoot for news. I wouldn't have been
Yeah.
able to do that.
Yeah.
Even though that's much closer, being quick and whatever. But you're
Yeah.
still trying to set up a particular shot. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to be that person, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's not that exciting.
Like this show about now.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
now we're at the time where we should probably wrap up. Well,
We're he-
Trev,
You're on fumes right now.
We're
is
on
that-
fumes.
We're
Yeah.
on fumes.
yeah. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks for having
It
me.
was
It was a lot
awesome
of fun.
having you here, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see you again, and we have to get together more often. I won't bring
The
your
doppelganger.
doppelganger. I won't bring your doppelganger out next time.
Yeah. Okay.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Just be you and me. Maybe we'll go see Glenn Humplick.
Yeah. That would be good.
Eh?
Yeah.
There you go.
The co-host of the Tom Green Show.
Feature guest of Car Cop.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it. Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Sunday
Having
morning,
breakfast.
get you out of the bed.
Nice.
No, thanks. Yeah, you got me up earlier than usual, so that's good.
You can start your day and
Yeah.
Thanks, Trevor.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. You can talk, DDT.
nice.
You can talk.
don't get me started.
Hey,
Yeah?
towards the end there, like
Reminiscing.
yeah.
Reminiscing. That was awesome, Trev.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Near the end, we started to.
Ramble.
Yeah, a little bit.
a
Yeah.
little bit of rambling.
Yeah, ramble.
It's par for the course.
Exactly.